They can bury the truth, but they can't kill the soul. Cut through the noise, get back to what matters. Stomp that floor, raise that hand, hear that truth roll across the land. We've been bent, we've been bruised, still we stand with nothing to lose. It ain't easy, it ain't easy. The road is long and hard. We stand for our freedom right here in our own backyard. Yes, Patriot Mike, standing tall and free. Patriot Mike, for you and for me. Strapped in. You're live with the Patriot Mike Show.
Good morning, Patriot Mike fans. This is how you do today. This is Mike, the Patriot, coming to you live from the downtown metropolis of LaMonte, Missouri, where, you know, it's a busy time of year. They're out there doing their things. The farmers are. The corn's starting to grow. The beans are starting to grow. And we're getting all kinds of rain. We got too much rain. We got farmers planting in their muddy fields, getting stuck because they got to get it planted. That's a true story. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a great day. And we got lots going on today, lots to cover. There will be a show after the show today because I'm not going to get through it all. I promise you. We got breaking news galore. I think we got a pretty good show today. We'll see how it goes. Technology-wise, I think everything's working. So, and make sure you support the Patriot Mike Show. Go out and hit the thumbs up button while you're thinking about it right now, wherever you're watching this at. And I'm on all the socials right now until they kick me off. But, you know, like, comment, share, do all the things that you do to help promote the show like you do. And you should do it. If you support all influencers, make sure you do those simple things. And some of you take the extra step and you join me on the show after the show. It's $5 a month. You can hit the join button down at the bottom. Over on Rumble, that's over behind a paywall on Locals, and I appreciate the people that give me a little extra support. So we give them a little extra news. Sometimes I give you news that I will cover next week because I just won't get to it today, and sometimes I give you news that I've had for a while. I just haven't been able to get to it. So that's one way of supporting the show. You can also support the show with Q Streaming. Q Streaming is changing the game. There's a link in the description section for Q Streaming, but it is changing the game in home entertainment. Basically, you stream all of your channels that you get on big cable or big satellite for $250 a month or whatever it is you're paying for $69 a month, and you get all of it, all the things, and it is. When I first started promoting it, it was a little bit rough. That was a little bit janky, but they've got it all figured out now. The new app is perfect. Go sign up, get it, and it helps the Patriot Mike Show if you use my link. And also you can support me through my products that I sell, like the Snow Slim. The chocolate sauce makes your pants fall off. Or the Snow Collagen, it takes care of the snap, the crack, the creaking, and the pop. Because those things right there are huge game changers for people. I'm down from 315 to 257-ish, a size 44 to a size 40, and the 40 is loose on me. So Support the Patriot Mike Show any which way you can. I really appreciate it. And there's always the tip jar if you want to give $1 or $2 that way. That's a little $sign at the bottom of the chat on Rumble, and that's just another way of supporting the show. They got the same sort of thing over there on YouTube, and they got the same sort of thing on Facebook with the stars. So it's just a way of supporting your favorite influencer, whether it's me or anyone else. Keep them going, keep them independent, so they don't have to go the route of Tucker Carlson and start taking a bunch of money from Qatar or something. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. And this is the day that the Lord has made it. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And the word of the day, as given by the Lord, presented by Marine in the Woods, is John 6:16 through 25. That's John 6:16 through 25. Make sure you crack open the Bible, see what God has for you today, because God is absolutely good all the time. And all the time, he is good. So let's get started with the show. As people are jumping on, I appreciate seeing you all out there. Like I said, hit the thumbs up button. Does help. It helps if you do that. I know some of you are watching in such a manner, like on your TV or something, through various apps, that you may not be able to hit the thumbs up button, but you can go find it and hit the thumbs up button later. You could. You really could. All right. You can go find it on Rumble. Everybody should go to Rumble, like when you're not using your phone or whatever, or your computer. You should go to Rumble. You should go to my channel, and you should play the video. If you're watching it somewhere else, just play the video on Rumble. You don't have to watch it. Just play it. Hit the thumbs up button. I'm just saying. Oh, Mike. Anyways, let's get started. Babylon Bee talking about Al Gore's in the news. Al Gore explains that while an inconvenient truth did not prove accurate, it did make him incredibly rich. And therefore, it did exactly what it's supposed to do. You did hear that Al Gore has come out and renounced global warming and now said that we're going into global cooling and the ice caps are going to flood the world or something. I don't know. All right. PMS is the most informed chat on the internet. You guys are nuts, that's for sure. I mean, speaking of nuts, Jimmy Kimmel's taken a few days off, and he's made a major announcement about who he's going to have filling in. Because everybody cares. I mean, like, nobody watches, so it wouldn't matter, but here you go.
I hope you're paying attention this summer, because I will be taking the next 2 months off, this time voluntarily. But we have assembled a potent group of hosts to fill in for me, beginning with Tiffany Haddish, Coleman Domingo, Ike Barinholtz, Anthony Anderson, Jelly Roll, and as a special treat for our commander-in-chief, I asked one of his all-time favorites, Rosie O'Donnell, to be here. You're welcome. And all I ask in return, Mr. President, is that you don't do anything stupid while I'm gone.
Yes. Well, anyways, isn't that wonderful? Gonna have Rosie O'Donnell. I'm sure it's gonna be one of the highest rated shows he's ever had, which is insane. I mean, because if he gets like 2 more people to watch, but I'll pass. Of course, I don't watch his show anyways. I barely watch any TV anymore. But Rosie's trying to make herself relevant again. Not that anybody cares. So, it's good times. Good times. And I got one more thing to mention. So if you missed my webinar the other day and you were still curious about what it was all about, I now have a direct link that you can watch that webinar on the rerun. You don't even have to sign up with your email or anything. You can just watch it. So if you're interested in that, and if you haven't watched it and you have the email, you can still watch it that way too, but that's going to expire here in over this weekend. You won't be able to access it that way, but I have it another way if you want to watch it on the rerun, and then we'll talk about it. Okay? Just wanted to throw that out there. And what's that about, Mike? What's it about? It's about making money. You want to make some money? Look, kind of like Brad Barton, but better. Without all the scam of the AI and the bitcoins and I don't know what the heck thing he's doing, but I'm not doing it. That's for sure. Anyways, so this is another thing that's happening. So the Air Force One that Donald Trump, the blue and all that Donald Trump flew out to the G7, that was its last flight. It's retiring, and it's being replaced with the new Air Force One.
And of the old Air Force One, top Trump aides seem to be hinting at a farewell to the iconic presidential aircraft. White House Communications Director Stephen Chung tweeting, "Well done, good and faithful servant, the last ride." And Dan Scavino writing, quote, "I have been fortunate to fly around the world on this iconic plane for 5.5 years of the 35 years that has been serving as U.S. president. Thank you." This comes amid reports that White House officials have had discussions with the idea of making Trump's planned July 3rd trip to Mount Rushmore his first flight on the new Air Force One. How about that? Vice President J.D. Vance covering.
So there's good news. Air Force One is the new and improved Air Force One. And I'm sure Donald Trump had a major hand in designing this. So not only all the technologies upgraded, but I'm sure it is probably the best of the best class act on the inside. So that should be good, I think. Should be real good. So let's get started. What do we got going on? We got the UFC. Breaking news from the UFC of the terrorist plot that was going to launch drones into the area of the UFC fight on the White House grounds. That was busted up by the FBI and the DOJ and the Secret Service and other agencies.
News alert, DHS confirming the suspected ringleader accused in a plot to carry out a mass casualty attack at the UFC event at the White House on Sunday is an illegal immigrant.
Mark Meredith is live outside the White House with more. Hey, Mark.
Brian Ainsley and Charlie, good morning, friends. The federal investigation into Sunday's alleged terror plot on the UFC's South Lawn event remains ongoing. Investigators looking into how this transpired, what was planned, as well as believing that many as 20 people may have been involved. Our colleagues over at Fox Digital report the alleged ringleader of this incident, Abraham Alvarez, was in the country illegally from Mexico, but also may have been granted DACA status, allowed to stay back in the Obama administration. He was arrested back in Omaha, Nebraska, and we expect to learn more about his background as the head of the UFC says security was certainly top of mind.
Did you have any idea that this was happening? Somebody was apparently planning to do something horrible on Sunday.
Yeah, there was more than that. There was more than that. And yes, I was in the loop on all of the stuff that was happening in real time. These are the
So the ringleader was a foreigner and a Muslim. But, you know, I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. You know, the same sort of folks as usual. Here's where all the suspects were from. One was from right here in Missouri so far. And there's several more they're saying that were involved. These are just the ones that are arrested so far. And I think this is a bigger plot than you think. And I think we're going to, I don't know for sure, but I have my suspicions that this is going to end up opening the door to some other, let's see, I don't want to use that one. I've got two different, I got the New York Post and the Daily, whatever that one is. The one that's been posting a bunch of crap lately. Let's see. Alleged ringleader behind White House UFC attack plot, ID'd as illegal immigrant, granted dreamer status under Obama. Dreamer. Yes. Anyways, come on, technology. What is going? Everything I got right now is freezing up on me. It won't go any further. All right. Well, We'll just skip that, I guess. We'll skip that, I guess. Can't go any further with that one. It's all froze up. All right, next one. We'll let that figure itself out, and we'll get back to it. Sometimes it's frustrating trying to deal with all this stuff. So we have the drone attack. Alleged. Someone was saying in the comment section, alleged drone attack. And then we have more information coming out about these drone attacks. And let's see, I got it right. I think I have it right here. Let's we find it. Got me all out of sorts with that doggone deal. Here is, I'll get to that one. Why am I not finding it? Okay, here is Mullen, Secretary Mullen, on what they're trying to do to protect the soccer tournaments, the World Cup, from drone attacks.
Let's just talk about counter UAS. That was a monumental task that we were charged with. This is the first time any of these venues have had counter UAS drone defense on them. We had to stand it up in a very short period of time because we were shut down for 76 days. But keep in mind, ICE and CBP was shut down for 115 days, and CBP, which is our Customs and Border Protection, they're tasked with 5 of the venues. We have our Coast Guard that's tasked with 2. FBI has 3, and FBS, which our Federal Protection Service, has 1. We had to stand this UAS, counter UAS, very quick because we couldn't have contract signed. So it was tough. I was out 2 weeks ago in Dallas meeting with the team that was setting up that. We were in LA last week, a week ago, looking at their system. And like you said, we have 55 that we've already brought down. And let me tell you, every one of those has the potential, not just be enthusiasts, but every single one of those have potential to be a terrorist act too. So we've had to coordinate with FAA. FAA shut down the airspace around the venues. We have 3 miles out, 3,000 feet up. But being shut down was very difficult to work around the Democrats' reckless behavior here.
So we got a very big concern within the government, Director of Homeland Security, and saying that, we're concerned about drones. So in the background of we're concerned about drones, the last 48 hours, there was a massive, with hundreds and hundreds of newer drones of different sizes and shapes, massive attacks on Russia by Ukraine, hitting a oil depot just outside of Moscow. This is what the sights and sounds look like. That rocket you saw streak across is an anti-aircraft rocket. That's a drone flying in right there. That's machine gun fire trying to shoot down the drones. That was a drone that just got intercepted. So this happened. Now, there's some complaints going on about Israel right now from both sides about Israel bombing the snot out of Hezbollah, but Hezbollah's bombing the snot out of Israel too. So and it's just like this: Russia's the aggressor, blah blah blah. This was a massive strike, and Ukraine doesn't have the resources to do this themselves. This is NATO supporting. They're talking about French equipment. That France is making some of the drones, and someone in the comment section is saying the Strait of Hormuz, the Iranians are saying the Hormuz is closed again. We shall see. I'm on the air, so I haven't been able to see any of that. But the breaking news over on CNBC right now, as I have that up for the markets, is that Israel and Hamas have just signed a ceasefire deal. So there is that. Now, Donald Trump is for world peace. He wants peace more than anything else, and he'll do what he has to do to try to get peace. But over in Ukraine, just as we get everything settled down, Ukraine does a massive attack on Russia. Of course, Russia's going to retaliate. We would too. This is a drone hitting a tower. I thought France surrendered on day one. Well, as long as they got somebody else fighting for them, they'll supply the stuff. Here is some more videos of the massive attack over in Russia. Now this is hitting apartment buildings. That one. More hitting apartment buildings. Hundreds and hundreds of drones were launched into Moscow. This is a scene from the oil refinery. Massive explosions, massive damage. And it's interesting to me that they're attacking oil. Almost like they want the price to go up.
Ебаться в рот! Это эпично. Да ну нахуй! Куда я попал, нахуй? Откуда летишь? Я уже с садовода, нахуй. Садовода, да. Мини-панцири рабочие. Блядь.
I don't know if that song's copyright, but I'm on Facebook and YouTube right now, so I got to take the song off. It's just the way that it is. More drones. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of drones were launched. Just imagine if this was happening to us. And you know what? You got to be really concerned about this type of warfare. Remember I talked about this for the last couple of years about the drone warfare, that when it first started, it was just commercially operated drones that they strapped grenades to, and it was evolving. I said, at the beginning of this war, I pointed out how it was basically in its infancy. It was like World War I, at the beginning of World War I, when they were tossing grenades out of their little biplanes or shooting pistols. And now it's turned into pretty much high-tech AI-operated drones that are able to target between what's going on between Iran and Israel. And now here, and this right here. So this is one of the oil storage tanks. It blew the lid clean off. That's a pretty wild video. I have the video somewhere. There it is right there. See, I told you I had it. Look at that. It blew the lid clean off. There's more of the whole. I've got several of these. We'll go through them pretty quick. Yeah, they keep poking the Russian bear, and that is just wild right there. That picture right there is just wild. Now you got to understand, Ukraine does not have the ability. That was one of those drones getting shot down. Ukraine does not have the ability to, but even being shot down, there's like 500-pound bombs on them. It still made a massive explosion. But they don't have the ability to target like this. They're using NATO and even, I don't know if they're still doing it now, but there may be some rogue elements involved. They're using American technology. They're using American technology, NATO satellites or whatever, in order to target these people. And so you got to consider this is intentional. This is controlled. Zelensky didn't do this on his own. It's not an accident. They planned this, and it's designed to mess up Trump. It's going after the oil. Ukraine has been hitting Russia's oil infrastructure for weeks now, and the whole purpose of this is to go after the make the world oil price go up, trying to stop trying to make the price of oil high so the people won't vote in the midterms for Republicans. That's what this is. There's another video of that, the lid off that. It's just a wild picture. Oh, we'll get to that one in a minute. We'll get to the Obama Center in a minute. Not there yet. Thought I had an announcement from Zelensky. Let me see here. Evidently, I missed it. But Zelensky came out and said some things about the attack and how it was justified. And I kind of want to get that covered here. Let me see if I must have blown by it and not paid attention to it. Here it is right here. So here's Zelensky. Last night, our long-range sanctions, he's being sarcastic, once again reached the Moscow region. For the second time this week, the Moscow oil refinery was hit. Targets were also struck in the Rostov region and in temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. This is a fully justified response to Russian attacks on our cities, our communities, and other important results of our warriors' work against facilities that sustain Russia's war machine. I thank our defense and security forces of Ukraine for their coordinated efforts, the security service of Ukraine, the unmanned systems focus on special operation forces, defense industry, and our missile brigade for their precision. In recent days, all of our partners have noted the precision and effectiveness of our mid-range strikes and long-range sanctions. It's time the war ended. Russia must take the necessary steps in diplomacy. Yeah, here, let us continue to escalate the war while demanding that the war ends. Let's think about that for a second. Think about what Donald Trump does. Donald Trump bombed the snot out of Iran. And then Iran goes, okay. And what's the first thing he does? Stop and say, all right, let's talk. Let's get this straightened out. Then they don't straighten it out, so he bombs them again. And then he pauses and gives them an opportunity. The opposite is what Zelensky's doing. He's bombing them, and then while he's it's kind of like a guy going, stop fighting with me. You stop fighting with me. You stop fighting with me. That's what he's doing. It's kind of like, the abuser. I wish you hadn't made me do that. That's what's going on here. And let me tell you something. If it wasn't for the backing of all the progressive nations of the West, the war would be over. They have prolonged this war. And it's an intentional thing that they have prolonged this war. They made this happen. They wanted this to happen. All right, where am I going next? I don't know. I don't know. 10, 11. Okay. Gee whiz. Which subject did I want to do next? Okay, so we got all that happening. Now, back to the homeland. Because there's some things going on. We'll get to the Obama thing in a minute, because I want to cover some other stuff. The DOJ is now bringing charges against people. All of the nothing's happening crowd is going to have to deal with something happening, because that's what's going on now. Here is DOJ as it reveals arrests in Massachusetts for SNAP fraud.
My name is Colin McDonald, Assistant Attorney General for the National Fraud Enforcement Division at the Department of Justice. Today, with our partners, we are announcing charges against 15 defendants alleged to have stolen taxpayer-funded benefits here in Massachusetts. These cases involve stolen benefits ranging from $4,000 to over $500,000. The programs exploited involve food assistance under SNAP, Medicaid benefits administered by Mass Health, housing benefits, Social Security disability payments, and more. Today's charges allege fraudulent conduct targeting the limited money set aside to help the most needy and the most vulnerable among us. Alarmingly, 11 of the 15 charged defendants are suspected illegal aliens, some of whom assumed stolen identities to steal these taxpayer-funded benefits and avoid detection. We're still working to figure out their true identities. We don't know who they are fully, but we do know who they are not. They are not the American citizens they pretend to be. And from that initial lie, the charges today allege that they gained access to the buffet of benefits generously given by the American taxpayer for needy Americans.
And a little bit more.
I've said before, we are just beginning to scratch the surface. We have dozens and dozens of fraud cases in the pipeline and numerous ongoing investigations involving systemic, large-scale fraud schemes. So I assure you, there will be more coming. But today, we are announcing charges against 15 individuals, and the charging documents provide a snapshot of what is going on in Massachusetts. Unchecked, unbridled, rampant fraud. People stealing taxpayer dollars, lying about their eligibility, and in many cases, lying even about their own identities. Of the 15 people charged, 11 are suspected illegal aliens who allegedly stole everything from SNAP to Mass Health to Social Security disability and unemployment benefits. One defendant, whose true identity is unknown even today, is charged with over $500,000 in fraud loss, Mass Health fraud, Social Security fraud, housing fraud, and SNAP benefit fraud, over $500,000. There is no doubt this loss amount would have continued to grow if not for today's charges.
So we got fraud in Minnesota, fraud in Ohio, fraud in California, fraud in Massachusetts. And it's all the same people doing the same thing. And it didn't happen by accident. You're getting the bottom of it right now. But sooner or later, and probably more sooner than later, it's going to find its way to the top. And people are going to find out. Here is Fox News reporting on a crackdown on transgendered health fraud.
To transgender health care, it accuses a group of misleading parents on treatments for children. And Alexandria Hoff has this story. What happened, Alex?
Well, Danny, this is big and it is fascinating because this lawsuit is coming from the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, which, as you know, typically focuses on fighting commercial fraud like false advertising and administrative scams. In this case, the FTC is classifying so-called youth gender care like a product that it claims is deceptively marketed to families by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, or WPATH. Now, the FTC is joined on with attorneys general for Texas, Alaska, Iowa, and Nebraska in this suit. Kurt Massili is the chief medical officer with the group Do No Harm, and he weighs in on this.
PATH has really asserted itself, unfortunately, as this preeminent authority, but they have made false and unsubstantiated claims regarding the medical necessity, the effectiveness, and the safety of pediatric medical transition. And so we're talking about puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries. And these procedures, when we look at the systematic reviews, there's no evidence of any benefit.
A systematic review was released in 2024. It was the UK's CAS review that was groundbreaking because it concluded there was no evidence that puberty blockers or cross-sex hormones improved a young person's mental well-being. WPATH is pushing back against the current lawsuit, stating the U.S. Federal Trade Commission is not a medical provider and has no place interfering with the process of individualized medical decision-making, and the FTC also does not have any jurisdiction over WPATH and its non-commercial speech. Now, last month, an FTC investigation into WPATH was blocked by a federal judge, making it so that the group didn't have to hand over its internal documents. This new lawsuit is a way around that, Dana.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. We appreciate your reporting.
That's right. According to the federal judges, you can abuse children, you can lie, you can make a business out of it. And we're going to get to that in a minute. You can lie and you can make a business out of it, but that's okay. We're not worried about that. We're just no big deal. This is going to cause people to get really upset in the near future. Things are going to get really, really interesting. We are in the season. Things are starting to unfold and happen that, well, many of us maybe had asked for, but hadn't been happening, and it's gonna start. We're in the season. We're in the season of it starting to be revealed, and we're in the season of judgment as God starts pulling together all of this. The Russians have come out and said, we hope the U.S. authorities will complete their investigation into the funding of biological research conducted outside the country's territory and decide to make all the available facts public. We expect these statements to be followed by concrete actions. And that is Tulsi Gabbard releasing all of this stuff.
One programming note
about the biocells, which they're pushing back. Oh yeah, we don't know that. The Americans are making biocells. Somebody commented on that on a post and said, this is just for good research, so we can have vaccines and stuff. No, it's not. The only reason to do gain of function research is to create a weapon. It's the only legitimate reason. These bugs wouldn't get these things unless, well, yeah, but they have to increase it so they can make vaccines for it because they think maybe our enemies are doing it. Yeah. How's that working out for you so far? Also in the news, John Solomon makes an announcement.
One programming note. I want to make sure everybody on the show is aware of it. I put it as a disclaimer on all my shows. I mentioned it on my podcast today. For the next couple of months, I'm working as an unpaid government employee to help the government identify documents that can be released to the public. It's your information after all. Bureaucrats keep us from it. I have an opportunity to help the government identify some documents, some secrets, some things you should know about when it comes to weaponization, election integrity, other things. We're going to work on that. But during that time, I just want you to know, I've stepped aside as the editor-in-chief of Just the News. I still do my reporting. We're still going to do the amazing show here with Amanda. But I want everybody to know that I'm doing this. I'm unpaid. I don't take any money from the government. I think it's a good role for a journalist to play, getting more information out. But I want you to know personally.
So he's moving over to the White House to basically doge the conspiracy, the seditious conspiracy, and help that information gets released properly. Now, whatever you think, he's been the one, him and Catherine Herridge have been the ones that seems to be all of the information has been released to. You can agree with me or not. That's okay. That's okay. Let me just show you. So Kathleen Herridge has an article that she put on X. If I'm not frozen up over here still. No, it's good. Good. That's a good thing. Let me find it here real quick. She put this out the last day or so with an interview, a breaking news interview about 9/11 and the 9/11 conspiracy and everything going on there. Here, listen to this.
This is the first time that you are sharing your notes from a meeting after 9/11 in Afghanistan with the executive director of the 9/11 Commission.
Right.
Just walk us through the notes.
The first thing I talked about was a clandestine asset who gave us access to Al-Qaeda. And then most importantly, I spent most of the time talking about Able Danger. I listed it out. We talked about what it was in great detail. At the time, I was talking at the top secret level. I couldn't tell them everything. And I talked about the problems we faced, plus the crazy factor, the fact that no one believed that Al-Qaeda could be capable of striking here.
The notes indicate that you talked to the executive director of the 9/11 Commission about cells. What did you tell him?
We found the cells in the initial run of data. And I told him specifically, we found 2 of the 3 cells that conducted the 9/11 attacks that included Mohammed Atta. That's exactly how I phrased it.
Mohammed Atta was the lead hijacker on 9/11 and flew into the World Trade Center. 3 members of the Able Danger team, including Schaefer, told us data mining identified Atta's photo before the attacks. What was his reaction?
Stunned silence. I mean, everybody just kind of sat there and looked at me. And it was just, nobody even talked for a moment. And then after a certain moment, I just went on with my briefing. And that was it. What was notable is at the very end of the meeting, he gets up, comes over to me, and says, what you said is very important. You need to come see me as soon as you return to the United States. And he gave me his card.
And this is the card for
Philip Zelikow, Executive Director of the 9/11 Commission.
When you made contact with Phil Zelikow's office back here in the United States, did you ever get interviewed by the 9/11 Commission?
No, there was no follow-up. I returned to the United States in December of 2003. I called that number the first week of January, and they said, yes, we remember you. We know who you are. We want you to come in. Give us a call later this week, and we'll set up a time for you to come in week after next. Sure. So I give it 4 business days. I call them that Friday, and I call the same number. I get the same guy. It's like, never mind. We don't need to talk to you. We have all the information we need on Able Danger.
What'd you make of that?
I was shocked because I knew for a fact that only about 8 people in Washington had any knowledge, let alone documents regarding Able Danger. It was a bad sign. It's like, I just was completely flabbergasted.
So she's breaking news about 9/11, and that what really happened on 9/11 is going to come out. It's let's see. So the cells, we found the cells in the initial run of data, And that told him specifically, we found 2 or 3 cells that conducted the 9/11 attacks that included Muhammad Atta. And that's exactly how I phrased it. What was his reaction? Stunned silence. In the 2006 Senate report and the DOJ internal watchdog, DOJ Inspector General, DOJ IG, concluded there was no evidence of support to be able, there's no evidence to support the able danger claims. Now, I know what some of you believe. I know what some of you believe, that it was all faked and that the aircraft were just CGI. But I know people that were there and saw the planes, and that technology doesn't even exist today to do that. So here again, using the principles of the Patriot Mike Show, the simplest answer that works is usually true. I believe that these were Muslim Al-Qaeda terrorists, that they did hijack the plane, and that all those people died. Now, well, what about Building 7? What about it? I don't know. It seems like maybe there was some issues there. That building, didn't fall down on its own, so to speak. Kind of like Epstein, He didn't kill himself. I believe, though, just like we're finding out about how all these nations, like Venezuela, like Cuba, like Iran, all of these groups, all of these things around the world that are happening was funded, paid for, orchestrated, like Ukraine, like the biolabs, like the pandemic, by us, the United States of America. Now, if you want to go cabal-y, if you want to say the Rothschilds, if you want to say this higher organization above that, so be it. But I can't prove that. I have my suspicions, but I believe that 9/11 was conducted by Islamic extremists, and that the people that hijacked the plane, they were pawns, and they believed exactly what they were doing, in exactly what they were doing. But at the top, the organization was organized, paid for, and constructed by the United States of America. And whether the president was involved or not at the time, I don't know. But I bet you we'll find out that some big names in government, maybe the Cheneys, maybe some of the other people around the president, for sure, had pre-knowledge. We're going to find that out. I don't know for sure. But here's what I'm saying to you, though. I was responding to somebody on the post I made, and we're going to get to that video just after this. Breaking news last night. That's not true, Julia. It's not true. It is the conspiracy theory. It is the conspiracy theory that's out there. But there were airplane parts found. I don't know if you've ever, okay. I didn't cover it, but it's on my Telegram page. Go to it from a few days ago. There was a B-52 that crashed at Edwards Air Force Base. Okay. Did y'all see that? 8 airmen lost their lives. They were testing some stuff with the B-50. Edwards Air Force Base is where they test all the new stuff. And sometimes bad things happen. So I got an itch on my nose. It just won't go away. Go look at that crash site. This is an easy explanation. A B-52, that's a big airplane, hit the ground and blew up. Go look at that crash site. Go look at the pictures of it and count the airplane parts for me. Carol, you are so negative. To what end? How will knowledge of the details? The knowledge is what we need for God to bring about what he's going to do. If you want to bring these people to justice, look, if Donald Trump, even today, starts arresting all these people, because I'm sure they have the evidence, think about what would happen. We are in the finding out, the judgment, the revelation of all of this right now. The attitude of the American, the comment that I get most often when if you go back to you go to my Facebook page or my Telegram page and you scroll back 2 or 3 months, I'm posting thing after thing after thing after thing after thing after thing after thing that we've been wanting to know about since 2016. And it's finally happening. And what do we get? The reveal doesn't do anything. We get these to what end stuff. We get this stuff, and it's like you've been begging for this to come out for years, and now that it's coming out, you complain about it. I'm just saying, and understand. You've heard Mike say it. He's posted it on here several times. That the reason none of this stuff has come out is because of God. Because God is doing this, not man. The reason that it's going to come out is because God is preparing for everything all at one storm. The people have to get to the point, and here's what I was getting to a second ago. Do you know how many people don't know this stuff? Do you know how many people don't realize that the Rona was intentional, that the vax was a weapon? Do you know how many people don't realize that our government pays all of these? Do you know how many people don't know that Barack Obama put billions of dollars in cash on an airplane, even though Donald Trump's been talking about it continuously for the last year and sent it to Iran? You know how many people don't know that? You're like, I've known this for years. Yes, that's why you're watching my show. You're my kind of people. We've known all this for years. There's only 323 of you watching at this very moment. There's what? 350 million Americans, 7.5 billion people on the planet. And probably 90% of them don't know any of this. We've got to get this into people's conscious minds. And while this is happening, while this stuff is starting to come out and people are starting to wake up to it and realize, holy crap, there's something bigger going on here. What do you have? You have a bunch of paid for Patriot mythology insurgencies out there screaming, Jew, 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 Jew. So you're not paying attention to what it really is. Because let me point something out to you. George Soros and George Soros Jr., the World Economic Forum, the monarchy in Great Britain, the cabal, so to speak, right? Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, the squad, none of them, and I could go on and on and on, none of them are Jews. Or if they are Jews, they don't have nothing to do with the Jews. Yeah, Yuval Noah Harari is a Jew. You got to understand what's happening here. You got to see, there's so many trees now, you can't see the forest. Just remember where we were in 2016. Heck, I bet you in this chat right now, half of you weren't even for Trump. I wasn't. Once he got the nominee, I was for him. Here's another. Russia. George Papadopoulos. Gotta say it right. Says, I think there's probably something in the emails concerning George Papadopoulos that might have her name in it, Senator Grassley, on why former CIA Director Gina Haspel, you remember that name? You remember all the dis, and malinformation that the Patriot mythology insurgency put out there right after the election in 2020 about Gina Haspel? You remember that? She was missing. She was taken down to Gitmo. She'd been Gitmo'd. She's walking around D.C. right now or somewhere. And President Trump ordered those documents declassified in his first term, at the end of his first term, and they never were. They never were. They all have dual citizenship with Israel. Who does? Who has? Name them, Scott. They all have dual citizenship with Israel. Who does? And so what? Name them. Because I looked it up and I know how many dual citizenship there are in Congress. Not just with Israel, with everybody, with all the nations. Name them. Name them individually who have, and then show me the proof. You can message me if you'd like. And proof, by the way, standard on my show, proof is not another influencer like me. Proof is documents. Now, here is the breaking news of the day. Yesterday evening, on her way out the door, Tulsi Gabbard kicked the door open and decided to throw some grenades. And here's the breaking news you've all been waiting for.
Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents that expose exactly how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19 and how Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when under oath he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. We also received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins, once again revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth. Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume three key roles that shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to big pharma and their pursuit of universal vaccines worth trillions of dollars. Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars, all of this in a deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions. Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit and he publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available. Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives. Now, Fauci didn't stop there. He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. Now, we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation, marginalization, and many suffered career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after coming forward to ODNI as a whistleblower. Another example, those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers that leadership would determine which analysts would be promoted and which would not. The message was clear: go along or be punished. Senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. Now, after years of lies and censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. The tactics that were used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to the vital facts he needed to keep the country safe. It's time you know the truth.
So there you have it. Now, everybody, well, yeah, but nothing ever going to happen. You got to understand, what was the last release? All about the biolabs. And now this release is about Dr. Fauci's involvement in the biolabs. And let me tell you something, this isn't the end of it. Because the acting ODNI, the ones that the Democrats are throwing an absolute fit about, and absolutely insane that Donald Trump picked this guy that knows nothing about intelligence, the guy who's a numbers guy, the guy that is a forensic accountant type guy, like The Accountant. You've seen that movie, except without the sniper rifle? Or maybe, I don't know. Because I have a feeling that the next release under that administration of the ODNI will be the numbers and the money. Dr. Fauci teamed up with pharma to get rich by creating an illness and the cure. It's a very profitable gig if you can get one. We're going to find out. Oh, and it's all coming out. It's all coming out. It's all, I don't care what you say. It's all coming out. Now, here's a video. I got to turn the sound off because I'm on the censorship channels. Copyright. So we'll just turn the sound off and I'll just play the videos. Do you remember this? AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine is 100% effective in preventing deaths, hospitalization. You notice they changed the standards. It doesn't stop the disease. You notice how the goalpost moves. Remember those days? It's 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 99%, 98%, 97%, 96%, 95%, 94%, 93%, 92%, 91%, 90, 89, 88, 87, 86, 85, 84, 83, 82, 81, 80, 79, 78, 77, 76, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68, 67. And it goes a lot faster than I can say it. 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50%, 47%, 46%, 42%, 41%, 39%, 33, 20%. Oh, you need boosters. Got to get your boosters. You got to get your, you got to put your left arm in and your left arm out and your right arm in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself about. That's what it's all about. And it goes on and on and on and on. I can't play the sound because there's a song in the background. On and on and on. You know, it's kind of like the shovel-ready jobs weren't very shovel-ready. And the vaccines weren't very vaccine-y. Kind of like that. The vaccines weren't very vaccine-y. You know, because a vaccine, you know, if you go out and you get the smallpox vaccine, oh no, I'm not getting it. I'm not talking about the modern stuff that they've changed. But back in the day, you know where the smallpox vaccine came from? They realized that when the scourge of smallpox was destroying a community, that the milkmaids weren't getting the smallpox. And so they figured out that there's a disease called cowpox, which would be contracted by the milkmaids, but it didn't affect the human body. But it was so similar to the smallpox that you built up an immunity to it. Therefore, it vaccinated the milkmaids from getting the smallpox. So they started giving everybody cowpox, and that stopped the smallpox. A vaccine stops the disease, prevents you from getting it, creates a barrier. It doesn't keep you from getting comorbidities. It doesn't keep you from ending up in the hospital. It doesn't make it less severe. Those are treatments, not vaccines. So think about that. Consider that for a minute. And I've had this conversation over and over again during the Rona times. You know, conspiracy theories. Since I'm stepping on conspiracy theories, I might as well step on some more. And everybody's all concerned about the data centers. The data centers are holding. I had some of my conservative friends ask me if I'd come to the meeting they're going to have to stop the data centers from happening in our neighborhood. I said no, because data centers are the next 5G. And by the way, where's everybody screaming about 5G is going to melt your brains? 5G is going to activate the Rona inside you and turn you into a zombie. Where's all that conspiracy? Where's all the conspiracy theories? They've moved on to new subjects because those subjects aren't making money anymore because people have realized that was just dumb. By the way, 6G is coming out. Of course, I saw a conspiracy theory on TikTok the other day that the 6G is going to mix with the data centers and they're going to create a super AI and take over the world. Data centers. Yeah, we already have them, right? Server farms and stuff, they already exist. These are just bigger because we need more data. The AI type stuff is going to suck up a lot of data. But it uses all the water. No, they can't argue about, they're not arguing about the energy anymore. Did you know that? Because Donald Trump mandated that if you're going to build a big, huge data center, you had to provide your own energy. Solve that problem. Now it's the water. Let's just look. Shall we look? Facts don't support the freakout over data center water usage. You see, alfalfa hay is by far the largest user of water in the United States. 6 billion gallons. Actually, I think there's a 6 with a comma in it. I can't see it from here. So that's 6,000 billion gallons. Irrigated corn, 3,000 billion gallons. Lawns, almonds, golf courses, but data centers are at 17 billion gallons, not even registering on the scale compared to the other. You see, we got to stop listening to the panic and think about what we're talking about. And that's from the Atlas Society. I follow them. That's a bunch of libertarian thinkers, anti-communist thinkers. By the way, most of this extremist stuff that you're hearing are coming from the Marxists. That it's the same people like Al Gore who now says we're having global cooling instead of global warming. I know, not in my backyard. I get it. I don't think they should build it in anybody's backyard. I think they should build it in these industrial parks or out in the middle of the desert. I know. It's just like the argument around here about landfills. They're wanting to put a new landfill in. Everybody's all, Mike, you're going to join us in protesting the landfill. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of neutral on it because I don't want a landfill in my backyard either. However, it's going to be in somebody's backyard. And you need a landfill. Of course, we could go back to the good old days when we burned most of our trash, but no, we can't do that. EPA and all. See, we don't have the data centers. By the way, did you know that most of the big major influencers that are putting all the data center bullcrap out there, do you know who's paying for them? I've seen some stuff that connects these people. Do you know who's paying for it? You know who's paying for all the anti-data center propaganda? China. You know why? Because China wants to dominate the space. And they don't want us to. The next world war will be fought with AI. And if you don't have any AI, you're unarmed in the next war. All right. On to the next. Did y'all watch it live? It was live all day long. You can watch it over there on MSNBC or wherever. It's great news. It's fantastic news. The world is going to be healed. There will be world peace. Everybody will hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Because it's opened. Finally, it's opened. We have a resource for peace and understanding and greatness that is the world. The world stopped yesterday and paid attention. They did. Here you go.
Costs and the funding and the planning and who's getting paid and who's not. Garrett Tenney's got more from Chicago. And Garrett, hello there.
Yeah, Bill, good morning to you. This is not your traditional presidential library. Not only is it the most expensive at around $850 million, it's also the largest, covering 19 acres on the city's south side. It includes an NBA-sized basketball court, a branch of the Chicago Public Library, a playground, vegetable garden, and green space for the community. But for a lot of folks in this community, it's also bringing concerns of gentrification and higher rents.
Now that the Obama Center is coming, all of these new buyers want to come in and they want to take over the land that has already been here and kick out the people that have been here.
It's kind of sad to see how money could be such a strong factor to swoop in and knock people off of their feet, people who have been here.
We are saying yes to Obama against no to displacement.
This project was a massive undertaking, but after almost 5 years of construction, some of the subcontractors who helped build it say they are facing bankruptcy over millions of dollars in unpaid work, not from the Obama Foundation, but from the project's construction manager, which tells Fox Digital it is committed to working through any outstanding issues. This area on the city's south side has struggled with crime and disinvestment for decades, and there's a lot of hope that the Obama Presidential Center and the economic boon it's expected to bring will help change that. President Obama says that's been an important goal for him from the start.
This community embraced me and gave me a chance. And I grew up here, and I met the love of my life here, and my daughters were born here. For us to be able to give that to this community is really important to us.
A star-studded crowd is expected here today, including every former living president, notably President Trump, not invited, though organizers say he is welcome to get a tour anytime after it opens to the public.
All right, we'll be there for the cameras when that happens. Garrett.
So the Obama Center is abominating whatever they do there at the Obama Center, and that'll be good. That'll be good. Here is the TikTok announcement. Come to the grand opening, they said. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's a celebration of Obama. And here it is right here. All the usual ghouls as they get them all lined up in the proper spot. You can see some of your favorites in the audience.
One more time.
Hey, who do you see? Who do you see? Look at all the politicians and celebrities. Oh, it's wonderful. Woo, America!
It is such an honor to be here today. I want to say congratulations, President Obama. Your legacy will continue to live on. Listen. To dream the impossible dream. To find the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run
Who's crying?
where the brave I go.
I can't even afford to build a double wide in Delaware.
Pain and sorrow, now we can seize the day. In on your own.
Yeah, grooving away. Bringing you the lovely grooves of the Obama opening. Brought to you by the BBC.
As the original inhabitants of the land upon which we are gathered today, we honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
So, honest question: are land acknowledgements
Shout out
the
Ojibwe.
gayest thing that Democrats do?
Shout out Potawatomi Nation. I mean,
No,
it's
a
just like-
special shout out to the Council of Three Fires.
Shout out Gabrielinos, shout out Tongvas, shout out Navajo. We're just going to start every show.
Shout out Navajo. We just get every show. We're just going to have like some new random tribal name.
This show is taking place on unceded Arizona Cardinals land.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so we have to make fun of these people. We have no choice. And I love how
they leave us no choice.
Is just, yeah, they leave us no choice. And it's just, I know a lot of people listen to audio. I tend to get the shows on audio, but you guys got to check out the visuals because that hairstyle is just beyond belief. She went to the same Lego shop. Yeah, she went to the same Lego shop as James Tallarico went, where they get the full hair pieces and you just snap them on to the top of your head. That's how she got that. It's just perfect. Every single strand is in perfect place. It looks like a Lego piece on her head. She was getting paid a fortune to do this, by the way. And just so you know, she's not even there. Like she was getting paid hundreds of. I think.
I want to remind you something. That's Valerie Jarrett. She was the handler of Barack Hussein Obama. She is, everybody screams and hollers, dual citizenships with Jews. she's an IRGC agent. She's an Iranian. But that's okay because she's not a Jew, so she's fine.
It was like almost like $1 million was her pay to oversee this monstrosity. But it is very nefarious. To make a serious point, there is a huge Reconquista movement in this country where they're trying to act like America is not a legitimate country. We don't really have a right to exist, and we're just invaders of the Native Americans, of the Mexican people who are here on the West Coast. And that is something that we got to nip that in the bud. That should not be common language that's used.
Well, that's the whole California project.
I just checked $740,000 a year to build at least the second ugliest building in America.
Yeah, and the whole press tour that they're doing is just really offensive. So this one is, I was shocked at this. The lack of self-awareness. Self-awareness check, Michelle Obama, SOP 50.
One word to describe your next chapter. One word.
Fun.
Me. That's what you call drop the mic.
Drop the mic?
Say a prayer for
Drop
Barry.
The big mic?
Say a prayer for Barry there. Michelle Obama's going to be wearing the pants in the relationship now. You might say she is now man in the relationship.
Shout out Big Mike. Shout out. Well, first of all, the last thing people need is more me. We are in a very me age. It's not going great. A lot of mental health issues. People focus too much on me. Also noteworthy, she was in charge of school lunches for our kids and had to get the fat shot herself. Pretty wild. And I don't know if you got that clip of Barack Obama lamenting about how people are chasing money and online clout. The ultimate thirsty guy, the thirstiest boy in America is Barack Obama, just had no track record, needed to be president for who knows what reason. These people are completely out of touch with the public.
And increasingly so.
That video right there, I was talking yesterday, I couldn't find it. I still couldn't find it. That's that video, that interview is where Barack Obama said he's going to be stepping back. They're going to step back and step out of the spotlight and retire and not be involved. And you notice that Michelle says me. She wants to step back out of the spotlight, not be involved in things. Mind you, it was just a few months ago that it was being reported everywhere their marriage was on the rocks. So there is that. There is that going on. So, you know, whatever. It's all good. Let's see here. Well, we got some more. Oh, here's some more. Here's some more. Celebrities. Take a look at who's in the audience. Some of y'all's favorite celebrities are in the audience. Did you see him? Mr. Tom Hanks is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what wonderful things we will see. And let's see, as they start introducing all the folks. Here we go.
Former Prime Minister of Canada.
Fidel Castro Jr.
Her Dr. Angela Merkel, former Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany.
He's higher.
And Vice President Kamala D. Harris and Mr. Douglas Hoff.
Knee pads.
It is our honor to welcome President William Jefferson Clinton and Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton. President George W. Bush and Mrs. Laura Bush.
Gang's all here. All the envelope receivers.
President Joe Biden and Dr. Jill Biden.
It's customary to say president, not former president, with the former presidents. That is a customary thing in the United States. It has been for 250 years.
And now please welcome former First Lady Michelle Obama, Malia and Sasha Obama, and our 44th President of the United States, President Barack Obama.
Yay! Woo! How exciting!
Exceptional. Thank you. We'd also like to take a moment to
Look at the
recognize
crowd. So enthusiastic.
of the land upon which we are gathered today. We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires.
Yeah, we've seen that one.
The claims that a U.S. senator and constitutional law expert wasn't qualified for the job. The lies about your birthright, your faith, your patriotism, the outrage when you stated the biological fact that if you'd had a son, that he too would be Black. Yet, you were unflappable at every turn, always focused, always calm, always looking at the long view. How absurd it is to even imagine that you might have buckled under the pressure even once, lashed out in frustration.
I heard there was lots of lashing out and frustration there, Michelle. I'm just saying.
The immigrants proving what it truly means to be a dreamer. These folks aren't Americans too.
Yeah.
America. They are the beating heart of this country. They are us and we are them. And to ignore this simple truth, to refuse to respect the contributions and experiences of people who aren't exactly like us, y'all puts us all at risk.
Yeah. There's no risk in all these dreamers flying drones around. It's no problem at all. What are you talking about, Willis? It's fine. We're fine. Don't worry. Be happy and stuff. It's okay. Nothing to worry about. Everything's wonderful. Michelle only hates her country anyways. That's what she says. For the first time in my life. Yeah. Here is Gutfeld's reaction to this.
You know what was missing, Jessica, from the library is a floor devoted to Kenya. And by the way, not in the library, birth certificate, not even the long form, Jessica.
What are we going to do?
A floor devoted to Kenya, ladies and gentlemen. How could they leave that out? Oh, yes. And then here we have it right here. All of the envelope receivers in one place that are still with us. What was in that envelope anyways? I don't know. And neither does anybody else. But there they are, one big happy family. And you know, they're all connected, right? They're all connected. It's weird. Weird. This one's fun right here. So the Vatican decides, it's breaking news, but they decided, Justin, the Vatican has invited Chelsea Clinton, Dr. Fauci, and New Age figure Deepak Chopra, and CEO of Moderna and Pfizer, to speak at a May conference focusing on health and the soul. And this guy says, was Satan unavailable? Yes, health and the soul. That's who we want. Dr. Fauci. And you know, they always pick on Donald Trump, who gets 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night, for sleeping too much. They never said nothing about Joe. And they don't say anything about Bill, but I guess if I was there listening to them drone on, I'd be sleeping too. Yep, I'd be sleeping too. There's no doubt about it. Here's Obama being Obama. You know, always encouraging and all that others.
Independent United States, there will be no kings or lords, no serfs or subjects, but only citizens. Each of us free to pursue our own version of happiness and able to determine our collective fate through an elected representative government. It had not been done.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He's a constitutional expert. That's what they tell us anyways. A constitutional expert, they say. Isn't it wonderful? Yeah, we'll get to that one in a minute. Let me finish up. So they're leaving. The show's over. Joe Cool, Barack Hussein Obama, walking off the stage, playing the air guitar, and Joe Biden, lost and confused. Where's my granddaughter?
Look at my granddaughter.
I don't have any idea. Somebody forgot to hold Joe's hand as they walked off. That's all I got. They're just these people. I swear, they're what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? And one more picture. I don't have any idea. There's a joke here somewhere, but I don't know what it is. What's with the Altoids? I don't. Is that where they keep the adrenochrome? I don't know. I said that. How about Facebook and YouTube probably banned now? It's a joke, people. Come on. Don't you have a sense of humor? I don't know. I don't have any idea. You tell me. No idea whatsoever. None. Nothing. None. I don't get it. So let's see what else we got. Let's see. We got some good stuff we need to talk about that I need to get to for sure. Let's have a little bit of fun here. Here's that French guy again. I showed you a video of him come over here for the World Cup. He's so funny. Listen to this. It's true though.
I have found out why America is so great. And it is one thing and one thing only. Air conditioning. It is the greatest thing I have ever experienced. It is hotter than Satan's butt crack out here. But what makes it bearable is the air conditioning. I believe you need to add a verse to your national anthem that talks about air conditioning. Americans are only scared of one thing, and that is being hot. But I love it. I love it. Is it something you have against being hot? Because the air conditioning, the ice in everything. Alors, something that I figured out while being here is that ice makes everything better. Better. I am convinced Americans put ice in every drink. The other day, I was out for breakfast, and I was at a cafe. I look over, and a man had ice in his milk. Oh. Americans love ice so much that le Titanic, no, le Titanic, whatever you say, I believe the Titanic was out to get more ice. Here in Texas, I see these signs that say that some people want ice. I don't understand that. And then people tell me that ice will take me away. What is this?
You guys like ice so much, I don't understand it. And then people tell me ice will take me away. Oh, it's good. It's good. You know, we talked about the rape gangs, the rape gang controversy over in Great Britain right now, and all the information being released. This person said something I think is every effing person who's been screaming about the Epstein files for months is dead effing silent about 250,000 white girls being gained by Muslims. I got to remember I'm on Facebook and YouTube. I don't give a darn about any of you effing people have to say ever again. And isn't that the truth? Where's Thomas Massey? Where's Marjorie Taylor Greene? It's all about the women. It's all about the women. What about those women? Well, not those women. It's about the women, but not those women, because those women don't give us any political power. Don't give us any political power at all. Here is over in Australia, an Iranian immigrant in Australia was asked about the war and what she felt about Iran.
One thing I'm going around asking is what's one thing about Iranians that you want the world to know that you think they don't know much about or you think is misunderstood?
Yeah, I feel like the first thing misunderstood is Islam, the main or majority of Iranian people's religion, which is not. So when I moved to Australia, the first question by default was, so you're from Iran and you're Muslim? And the answer is no. Unfortunately, 47 years of Islam being almost forced on our people, on our country, and see what happened to our country. So that would be the first thing that I would say it's misunderstood about Iranian people. And the second is how much we are peaceful, because again in the media outlets, they all hear about the Islamic regime of Iran, but they don't know people of Iran. It's different. It's Islamic regime and it's the people of Iran, and we just want peace and freedom, like just the normal human being. We want to be able to walk our dogs, and that's literally forbidden in Iran.
It's illegal to walk dogs in Iran.
It is illegal to, like, my auntie had a dog and they told her, if we see you walk your dog, we'll shoot your dog and you have to pay for the bullet.
Is it illegal for women to sing in public?
Yes. So the women's voice, basically, as per Islamic law, Sharia, is not allowed. So we are not allowed to sing. We are not allowed to ride motorbikes. We are not allowed to, for a very long time, we were not allowed to be prime minister, presidents, any higher kind of rank in politics as well.
And are women allowed to show their hair in public? Come on, this is a slam dunk.
I mean, come on, we all know how to answer to that. Yeah, if I go out like this in Iran, that'll be the last time I'll be seen on the face of the earth. So.
So in Iran, she said, not many of the Iranians, the Persian folks, are Muslim. They go through the motions because they have to, because they'll be killed, but they're not Muslims. Find it interesting. That's all. That's why I posted that. I wanted people to see what's really going on in Iran. So here's a story. We all know that the reflecting pool, Donald Trump cleaned it up and like 2 days later had algae in it. Well, they've got that fixed. Some people are thinking maybe it was sabotaged. The official report is that it came from the pipes that weren't cleaned out. But this is from Nick Sorta, says, just in exclusive, the United States Park Police are investigating 8647 inscription on the sealant of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. We discovered writing just now while walking the edge of the pool. This BS needs to end. This comes with mobile surveillance towers have been deployed around the pool along the park, along with Park Police, National Guard, and 24/7 watch. It's insane to see the TDS. See, there it is right there. 8647. Somebody somehow scratched that into the pool. And of course, it's okay. It's fine. There's nothing to worry about here, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing to worry about here, because that just means we don't like you. That's all that it means. There's nothing serious in that. They don't really mean it when they say that. And then we have the SAVE Act trying to be passed, and it won't be passed. Like I said, they're not going to pass it. And here's Seditious Six Mark Kelly on the SAVE Act.
The SAVE Act, what Donald Trump is pushing, is what the whole plan is to make it really difficult for people to vote, because he knows when there are low turnout elections and you disenfranchise certain populations, it's more likely that somebody like Donald Trump and the people around him, his candidates, will get elected.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The SAVE Act will make it harder for people to vote. You know, people who can't get an ID and don't have citizenship. And so Donald Trump wants small elections. Well, how many times have I told you that these people want ever increasing, ever growing elections, numbers, people. They want ever increasing, ever growing numbers of people on the ballot rolls so they can cheat and you won't know. They can cover it up. That's what it's about. That's what it's been about. Here's Axios. Trump's SAVE Act obsession ties Senate in knots. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's never, oh my gosh. Oh, Donald Trump's being so mean with this. He's so mean with this SAVE Act stuff. Wish he would stop. Yeah. This is there's more to this. Here is Mike Lee again, as he's refusing to back down, but he doesn't want to undo the filibuster, which means it's not going to pass. I'm telling you, these people are just playing games. If you vote harder and give us more money, we'll get you next time.
Without fair, secure, reliable elections,
I agree.
our constitutional republic can't really thrive. The American people certainly can't thrive and aren't well served by a government in which honest, secure, fair elections are routinely observed. That requires us to have laws in place to protect them. Now, the states run the elections. It's typically up to the states to figure out the procedure by which they do that. But under Article 1 of the Constitution, the Congress also has the power to make or amend rules governing the conduct of federal elections. I feel really strongly about the Save America Act for this reason. There are unique vulnerabilities baked into the cake in existing election law, especially those governing federal elections. Some of this has to do with the 1993 statute called the National Voter Registration Act, also known as the Motor Voter Law, and the way it was interpreted a couple of decades later by the Supreme Court, wrongly but conclusively, as restricting somehow, prohibiting, in fact, the states from asking for any type of citizenship verification once someone has registered to vote using the federal NVRA form, which you typically fill out at a DMV. Those vulnerabilities are there, and they've gotten steadily more pronounced in recent years as we've had a flood of non-citizens pouring into our country. And as we've made it easier and easier for people to vote, often without any verification, not only as to citizenship, but on election day, with many states not requiring, in some cases adamantly prohibiting any type of voter ID, photo ID at a polling location. I don't fight for every piece of legislation with the same degree of fervor or aggressiveness as I do the Save America Act. I'm not going to stop. And the reason I'm not going to stop is because there are some things that really matter this much. If we don't do this, if we don't do everything in our power to fix this now before this election, it could be too late and it could get more and more difficult to bring about these reforms. So for those who disagree with this, for those who don't share my enthusiasm for it, I respect your right to disagree. I'm going to keep advocating. I'm not going to stop. We need this legislation, and there is really one way to go about it. It involves putting it on the Senate floor, and debating it, and announcing when we do that we're going to continue to debate it for weeks if necessary until it passes. This is overwhelmingly supported by Americans, and I believe it'll get more popular, not less, as we do this and as we take steps toward doing it. We don't want to wait until after it's too late. The words "I'm sorry" won't carry much meaning at that point. So, look, if some people don't want me to advocate for it, I'm sorry. I'm going to continue to advocate for things that I think are important. The Save America Act is one of those things, and I'm not stopping. In fact, I'm just getting started.
So again, Mike Lee's out there, blah, 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 but all talk and no action doesn't do anything for me anymore. Same old stuff, saying the same old thing. It's just, we've had enough of that. Here is JD Vance and Donald Trump together. Actually, Donald Trump's a tweet. JD Vance is a truth. JD Vance is speaking at the White House press corps meeting. He said, Donald Trump says, anybody who doesn't want to terminate the filibuster is a fool. A very stupid one. By the way, Mike Lee doesn't want to terminate the filibuster. At that, the Democrats will end it within minutes of taking office and then rapidly proceed to destroy our country, adding 2 radical left states, 4 Democrat senators, many congressmen and women, their dream of 21 Supreme Court justices, not just 13, an unlucky number, an impossible to beat number of electoral college votes. And that's the ball game. Popular vote landslides and so much else. The Republican Party will never win another election, and I will sadly be the last Republican president. Senate Majority Leader John Thune and the Republican Senate must not let this carnage happen. They will go down on the wrong side of history, as well as all Republicans who stood by and watched. The Republican Party isn't at stake. Excuse me. The Republican Party isn't at stake. Our country is. Terminate the filibuster and immediately approve the Save America Act. God bless the United States of America President Donald J. Trump. And here's what J.D. Vance has to say.
Leader Thune said it's unrealistic to get the Save America Act passed by attaching it to FISA, which is what the president's looking for. Do you believe this is possible?
Well, why don't we try? Why don't we try and at least force people to vote against it? One of the things that sometimes frustrates me about the legislative process is that people will go into it saying, this isn't possible, therefore we're not even going to try. Well, let's actually see. Let's try it. And if it's not possible, then let the people put their name on it. This is also good for the American people. How many American senators know that the American people love the Save America Act because they believe in voter ID? But how many of those same senators don't want to vote for it because they know that the radical elements within their own party would punish them for it? Let people go on the record and actually answer to the American people, which is why I think we should do exactly as the president said.
Yep. And I'm telling you, they're not going to pass the SAVE Act. They're not going to pass it. Donald Trump is going to sign, probably sooner rather than later, some sort of executive movement, maybe the Insurrection Act type movement, that's going to force these people to comply with common sense standards of IDs, one-day voting, no mail-in ballots. By the way, he's moved, to do something. He knew that if he went out and tried to ban mail-in ballots, just sign an executive order or something, that he would get sued and he would lose. And so he did something that he could do. And it's not getting much play. The Patriot mythology's insurgency ain't talking about it at all. He's mandating that a federal agency, the United States Postal Service, certify that a mail-in ballot only comes from a American citizen, that a mail-in ballot that doesn't come from an American citizen cannot be delivered. And the way that he's doing it is he's going to mandate that any ballot that comes through the mail has to have a code on it, and that code will have the information of the voter that can be compared to national citizenship registries. And if that name comes up on the national, not on the registry of a national citizen, then that cannot be delivered. That's step one. Step two is that any state that doesn't comply with this mandate, the U.S. Postal Service will not deliver any ballots in the mail. Think about that for a second. Just let that bounce around in your brain for a minute, what that implies, what that implicates. Now, here is a New York Democrat, Brad Lander, on illegal aliens and how they mean us no harm. They're just peaceful, wonderful people, and we want to have them around.
These are people just trying to escape persecution, build a better life for themselves. If they're guilty of anything, it's that they fled economic misery and poverty instead of torture and war. They are not people who are putting us in any jeopardy. It's Donald Trump who's putting us in jeopardy.
That's right. It's not all the illegal Trendy Agua gangbangers and all the ones that are driving the semi trucks and killing people on the highway. It's not the illegals who are dealing drugs and trafficking humans and shooting up neighborhoods. It's not the illegals that are robbing people blind, looting, raping, and pillaging. It's not those people. They're not. It's Donald Trump. Donald Trump's the real problem. Here is seditious six leader, Senator Alyssa Slotkin, on the SAVE Act and how bad it is for America.
So we're introducing Protect Our Polls Act, and it does three big things. Number one, it requires that President Trump come to Congress to get approval before he would ever deploy uniformed military to our polls.
Why is she worried about that? I mean, Donald Trump hasn't deployed any uniformed military yet. Why is she worried about that? What concerns does she have? What's Donald Trump going to do? She wants to pass a bill that forces Donald Trump to go to ask her permission to deploy military. What she's concerned about is an insurrection act. If Donald Trump signs an insurrection act saying that there's foreign adversaries working against us with our election, within cahoots with American citizens and American leaders in the several states, that he'll send the military in to secure the elections.
There is only one legal way to send uniformed military to the polls on our books, and that is to, quote, repel armed enemies of the United States.
What did I tell you? And it isn't armed enemies, by the way. It's just enemies. Doesn't say anything about armed. But I'll continue. They're panicking. They're worried about it.
We have never done this in our history. Not during World War II when we were in the middle of combat operations, not just months after 9/11 when we had been attacked on our own soil. We have never in our history sent uniformed military into our polls during an election. So if Trump wants to do that and use this narrow exception, he should be able to come to Congress and seek our approval to do that.
But that's not what the Constitution says. So guess what? This is why they were out last year telling our military to disobey President Trump. It had nothing to do with Iran or anything else. They're worried about this action right here. And it's been prophesied that that's what will happen. Here's Los Angeles County. Here's a story in Los Angeles County who just voted to approve allowing illegals to vote in elections, or immigrants or something, non-citizens.
The City Council has agreed to place a series of major charter reform measures on the upcoming ballot, including policies on non-citizen voting in local elections and policy changes to police oversight. If voters approve the measure in November, the City Council will have the green light to let non-citizens vote in citywide and LAUSD school board races. However, the city's elections are administered by Los Angeles County, and it has not been discussed how to separate the election process and the amount of money it will cost the city.
Because that will solve the problem. That will solve the problem. Let's let everybody. Why don't we just send in a billion mail-in ballots to China? That'll solve the problem. Everybody gets a vote. The whole world gets to decide. I don't think that'll work out well. Here is an interview of Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna, who teamed up with Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene to force out the Epstein files. But only the ones from the Southern District of New York. We don't want to talk about the rest of them.
If you're going to say, were I and other Democrats wrong in the judgment of not calling earlier for President Biden to not to run for re-election, we were. I've admitted that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I don't make every call correctly in politics, and when I make a call that is incorrect, I'll own up to it.
Sure you will. Here's some more.
It's in the cases of some people who are married that you want them, if they've changed their name, to go and have to prove that with their birth certificate to a registrar that they changed
Get
the
your
name.
birth certificate. What's the yes? That's the law. You can't vote if you're not an American citizen. Yes, get your birth certificate. Yes, that's exactly right.
No, because
problem.
it's putting a huge
I wanted a copy of my birth certificate. I went online. I got the birth certificate. I got it. It took a week. No problem.
Yeah, that's what we want. Go get your birth certificate, prove you're American citizen, and then go vote. Yeah, do that. And he was like, people are just too stupid. They don't know how to do it. That's why we get elected so that we can take care of them. Don't worry, trust us. We'll fix it. You're fine. You're fine. Just vote more, give more money. I don't know why there is a Black or Hispanic person in this country that votes for these people who tell you that you're too stupid to figure out how to get an ID. I don't know. I don't know why there's a person that does it.
What's the problem with the Save America Act? Why do Democrats push back on the idea that you have to prove citizenship to vote? What's the problem? Are there just too many illegals in this country voting?
It's not an issue that you have undocumented people in mass numbers voting. You know that, Maria. The data doesn't show that. And the challenge is the way
elections, excuse me 1 second. Elections have been lost just by 1,000 votes, 500 votes here, 1,000. So when you say, there aren't large numbers of illegals voting, there shouldn't be any illegals voting. It's against the law.
I
Elections
agree.
have been lost by a couple of votes. So just to say, it's not a lot, that's not an answer, sir.
Yep. She nailed him to the wall here. I agree. We shouldn't have those people vote, but we need them to vote. So we don't want Donald Trump interfering with our voting grift. By the way, we make a lot of money doing it, which is what every grift everywhere. That's what they do. They make a bunch of money. Donald Trump at the White House yesterday gave out a couple of congressional medals of honor. Did y'all see that?
That's not coming off now.
And then this guy, this Marine, Vietnam veteran Marine.
The President of the United States, in the name of the Congress, takes pleasure in presenting the Medal of Honor to Second Lieutenant James Capers Jr., United States Marine Corps.
I think these ceremonies are great.
The first hero today is one of the finest warriors to ever wear the uniform of the United States Marines, Major James Capers Jr., sitting right here. Thank you, James. In Vietnam, the Corps promoted him from Staff Sergeant directly to Second Lieutenant, unusual, making Jim the first Black Marine in history to receive a battlefield commission in the middle of a war. In 1967, deep in the jungles of Vietnam, Jim and his 9-man force recon team, known as Team Broad-Minded, attempted to locate a suspected enemy base camp near the village of Phu Lac. Over the course of 4 days under Jim's leadership, Team Broad-Minded repulsed brutal attacks, as brutal as they've ever seen, cleared trails of bloody traps, and killed more than 200 of the enemy. The enemy was going down quickly. They never really knew what the exact number was. On the 4th day of battle, a numerically superior force of Viet Cong soldiers launched a truly devastating ambush. Explosions shredded the air, sending Jim into a tree, ripping open his abdomen and breaking his leg, badly broken leg. Shrapnel peppered his body in 17 places. I hope this isn't giving you some bad memories, Jim, but I'll tell you, everybody admires you, what you went through, believe me. Every one of his fellow Marines went down wounded, but Jim rose, pushing forward on a leg that shouldn't have been able to carry any of his weight. After a shot of morphine, Jim asserted command of the firefight. He took over like nobody's ever seen before. Barely clinging to consciousness, he called in close air support for an entire hour. Very dangerous. It was sometimes a little bit too close. And it was the only force strong enough to repel the onslaught of a lot of very tough soldiers on the other side. Once an extraction helicopter reached his team, Jim loaded his wounded men first before finally loading himself. When the helicopter groaned under the weight of his entire team, too many people, he attempted to deplane, but his team physically held him back, refusing to leave their leader behind. For his incredible valor, Jim was recommended for the Medal of Honor in 1967, and everybody knew he should get it. But life is life. His commanding officer, who was his biggest fan, was tragically killed before the paperwork was signed. That's a bad break, but now you're doing it. Maybe this is better. You had to wait a little while, didn't you, huh? Jim, the nation kept you waiting far too long. So I say to you, congratulations. You made it. Thank you. Congratulations.
It's good to honor these men. It's good. That's a good thing. There's some more videos. There's a Fox News story on these guys that got the Medal of Honor. If you'd like to go watch that's on my Telegram page, but I'm running a little bit long here, and I got to do a show after the show. So we're going to end it there. Join me on the show after the show on Rumble. The join button is the red join button below or above, depending on how you're watching on Rumble. And you can support the Patriot Mike Show. That way it's $5 a month. And we're going to talk about all the news we didn't get to do. We got Iranian news. We got some other crazy, zany stories and stuff happening across the fruited plain, as Trump would say. As Rush Limbaugh would say. Anyways, you guys have a great day. It's Friday. You know what that means, right? That means turn off the social media, turn off all the news. Don't worry about it. Take a break. And go spend time with the Lord. Go spend time with nature. Go whatever it is you do to relax, go do that. Take a nap in the afternoon. It's always a good reason to take a nap. But don't worry about it, because we'll come back Monday and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. You guys have a great day. Patriot Mike is out.
They can bury the truth, but they can't kill the soul. Cut through the noise, get back to what matters. land. We've been bent, we've been bruised, still we stand with nothing to lose. It ain't easy, it ain't easy. The road is long and hard. We stand for our freedom right here in our own backyard. Yes, Patriot Mike, standing tall and free. Patriot Mike, for you and for me. Strapped in. You're live with the Patriot Mike Show.